Somerton Park normally is a quiet, middle-class suburb in the western suburbs of Adelaide. Yet even here, from time to time, violence has disturbed the tranquillity of suburbia. Bishop Avenue is a short street of neat residences. A school oval is opposite its southern end. Normally the noise of excited children leaving lessons for the day was the most hubbub you would encounter there. At number 11 lived the Ronneberg family. They had come to the city from the country town of Gladstone around the end of the 1950s. In 1969, the father, John, had just turned 61. His wife, Eileen, was 10 years younger, and they had a family of 6 boys, aged between 6 and 24. John ran a service station and garage at 592 Anzac Highway at Glenelg East, only about a mile away from the family home. The Ronnebergs had a comfortable, conventional lifestyle for 1960s Australia. They were by all accounts friendly, sociable people. On the 7th of December 1969, John and an employee were working at the service station when they were approached by a young couple. David Walter Joyce was 25, from Pakenham Upper in Victoria. He introduced the young woman with him, Cynthia Ann Burrows, 19, also from Victoria, as his wife, and said they were there on their honeymoon, although in fact they were not married. They'd arrived from interstate a few days earlier and were staying at a Glenelg motel on their way to the west coast. Their car was having trouble and they asked John Ronneberg to have a look. He gave them a quote for the repairs, which was going to be costly. Joyce was going to struggle to afford it. Ronneberg offered a solution. The young couple could come and stay at his home for a few days, instead of paying for a motel room. Joyce and Burrows accepted the kind offer of hospitality. 2 days later, on the 9th of December, the couple moved into a bedroom in the house on Bishop Avenue. All seemed well for a few days, but when the Ronnebergs learnt that Joyce and Burrows were not married, things changed. It was not considered acceptable for a young unmarried couple to be living together at the time. It was decided that Cynthia should return home to Victoria. On Friday the 19th of December 1969, Eileen Ronneberg was helping Cynthia pack, when David Joyce suddenly cracked. He hit one of the Ronnebergs' sons, 24-year-old John Jr., with a leather-bound bottle, and then when Eileen went to help her son, Joyce attacked her with it as well. The startled pair fled their house, leaving Joyce and Burrows alone inside. Police were alerted and at about 3 p.m. arrived on the scene. Just inside the doorway they discovered the body of Cynthia in a pool of blood. Her boyfriend had stabbed her to death with a kitchen knife, with a 5-inch long blade. The knife had struck her 10 times despite her desperately fighting to save her life. 3 of those blows were to her heart. He had then attempted to kill himself with the same weapon. 5 police cars and 3 ambulances arrived. Joyce had caused serious injury to himself and was taken to the Royal Adelaide Hospital, where he was operated on. That night he lay in a critical condition. Eileen was also admitted to the hospital with serious head injuries, while her son was treated for minor injuries and allowed to leave. Both Eileen and David recovered from their injuries. David Joyce was well enough to appear in court on the 5th of January 1970 to be remanded on a charge of murder. His trial took place in March, and it took the jury of 6 men and 6 women just under 2 hours to deliver a verdict of guilty. Joyce was sentenced to death. He was due to hang at Adelaide Jail at 8 a.m. on the 22nd of May 1970. The case became part of the election campaign for the state government, which was held on the 30th of May 1970. The incumbent Liberal Party were in favour of the death penalty, but the Labour Party announced they were against it, and if there was a stay of execution and they won government, then Joyce would not hang. As it was, the matter was decided before the election, in which the Labour Party prevailed. An appeal against the sentence was dismissed on the 15th of May. His lawyers intended to keep fighting by going to the High Court of Australia, but on the 19th of May the Executive Council of the South Australian Parliament commuted the sentence to life imprisonment with hard labour. This sentence meant that Joyce would probably be released within 12 to 15 years. The last hanging in South Australia had taken place in 1964, and although the death penalty remained in South Australia until 1976, it was never again carried out. John Ronneberg, whose kind act had such an unforeseen outcome, passed away aged 86 in 1994. Eileen Ronneberg followed at the age of 83 in 2002. The service station on Anzac Highway closed down long ago and was for many years a vacant lot before units were built on the site. Bishop Avenue has changed only a little in the 52 years since David Joyce's outburst of violence.